In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, the developers of that planned Ground Zero mosque now say they're willing to have a conversation about moving. New York Governor David Paterson had floated the idea of building the mosque on state-owned land farther from Ground Zero. Now the developers are saying they're open to it, open to hearing more even, but they remain adamant about serving Lower Manhattan. So are they really serious about possibly moving? With us now, K.T. McFarlane, a former Defense Department official and Fox News national security analyst, and Mark Levine, a radio talk show host. K.T., let me ask you, do you think if they moved a little farther away, it would resolve this issue?
I think there are a couple of issues at play. I know I know Imam Faisal. I took a course from him right after September 11th. I've had him in my home. I've had him speak to women's groups. I think he's a very sincere man. And he sees his mission in life as bridging the communities between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism.
I got to tell you, I got a problem with this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is a guy that will not renounce Hamas. He won't say where the money's coming from.
I agree. Look, I think but he's okay. But the problem is he's being used. Where is the money coming from? He's always, ever since I've known him, he's always been very vague about what's funding any of this.
Well, wait a minute ago you said he was a sincere guy.
I think he's personally sincere, but I think that the whole notion of where's the money coming from is vague. Is it something where it's going to be an interfaith community? I mean, I've gone to a service that he gave at my Episcopal church where he gave a Muslim service. Now, is he going to return the favor in Ground Zero? Is he going to say, Christians and Jews, come to my mosque, have your services? I don't think so. And the other problem I have with it is we have seen historically, I mean, Christians tend to use, they put monuments at places where martyrs have died. They put monuments at places where people have sacrificed their lives for a noble cause. That's what this place is. Now, in the Islam tradition, they tend to put monuments at places of their great victories. So are we going to think of this as one thing and they may think of it as something else? Is this something that could potentially be a recruiting station for potential terrorists? I'm not saying it is, but I want a couple of guarantees up front that it's not going to be.
So you are opposed to having the mosque there, whether or not it's moved a few blocks away or not. You just don't want it in Lower Manhattan?
No, I'm not saying that. I just have a lot of questions that nobody's answered. And until those are answered, I'm not in favor of it.
Now, Mark, do you think if they move it a few blocks away that it resolves the issue?
I think it should, absolutely. I mean, I think they should be encouraged to move it a few blocks away. But at the end of the day, they have a legal right to build it there, an absolute legal right. We can't say you can build a church or a synagogue at this location. You can't build a mosque there. That's the First Amendment. And I'm very glad this Imam he's building a shrine to memorial to the victims of September 11th. I hope, and it sounds like based on KT's experience, he will have interfaith services there. This will be, first of all, it's not a mosque. I want to be very clear about this because there is a mosque within a 13-story Muslim community center. And people are calling it a mosque as if they're going to imagine this building with a dome on top. First of all, it can't be seen from Ground Zero. So to say the Ground Zero mosque, there's Ground Zero, there's a building, there's another building, and then it's the third block away. It's in a building that's going to be a Muslim community center. It's going to contain a mosque and many other things. I'm with KT. I'm fine with finding where the money's coming from, but that's not the heart of what people disagree with. They're not looking at the Imam and worrying about him so much, I don't think, as the idea.
Well, let me just tell you something. There was a new Fox poll this very day, today, that said 61% of Americans think this Muslim group has a right to build a mosque right there. But it's also the case that the poll indicates 64% of Americans think it's wrong for them to put it there.
Yeah, but here,
I'm in both groups. I'm in both majorities.
In other words,
because I believe they have a legal right to do it.
Right.
I believe that the government should stay out of trying to prevent them from doing it. I think New York is doing the right thing, not arguing the landmark commission.
Well, most Americans are reasonable people. We believe in religious tolerance.
Absolutely.
But here's the question for you, KT, then. You're a Republican. You're a conservative. Why do I only hear opposition coming from conservatives so loud and clear?
Oh, well, I think if you've got a poll which shows 60-some% of the population is nervous about this and thinks it shouldn't be built, that's, you know,
No. They don't think they think it's wrong to put it there, but they think that these folks have a right to build their mosque where they want.
Unless there's 61% of the people in America who are willing to be Republicans, I think that shows you that it's not just Republicans.
Well, no, but when I hear folks speak out, I hear Newt Gingrich, I hear Sarah Palin, I hear Peter King, the congressman from New York. Elena Ross-Layton. I hear all these folks who are Republicans who are making the case, and it makes me think, is this now a way that they're stirring the base?
No. This is, look, I mean, if you've had friends who died September 11th, as I did, you don't look at this as some political one-upsmanship. You look at this as something that's potentially sacred ground that could be defiled.
Mark, do you think this has become politicized?
I think it has. I don't think KT looks at it that way, but I certainly think politicians are using this. And I think, for example, even the words that are used, the Ground Zero Mosque, instead of the Muslim Cultural Center 3 blocks away from Ground Zero. Now, I realize that's a mouthful. It's harder to put on a New York Post headline. But at the end of the day, look, I would be very much opposed to a mosque at Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a sacred place. It is a place where 3,000 innocent Americans were murdered, and the federal government should control it to make sure that no religions or all religions are at that memorial site.
All right.
This is 3 blocks away in crowded Manhattan.
It's not too far, my man. It's not too far.
I support them moving it further.
Okay.
But at least he's putting a memorial there, and it could be a shrine.
Let me ask the two of you about the idea that the U.S. State Department, that your taxpayer dollars, my money, is now sending the imam over on this trip to the Middle East.
Well, I've been on trips like that. I mean, this is public diplomacy. This is outreach to different communities. The way the imam presents himself is that we have to find an alternative to radical Islam, and he presents what that alternative is. I feel if he's going to make that trip, he should not be doing it on tax dollars. And that this is not a place where, because he's not fundraising, okay? He's not saying,
you say don't, the State Department shouldn't send them. All right, Mark, let me hear what Mark says.
This is the imam's 3rd trip. The first we know was under George W. Bush. The second was in January '09, so it may have been in both administrations. This is his 3rd trip to the Middle East. All the problems that you say about him happened long before this trip. The Bush administration knew it. They sent him, and let me tell you why. The reason is we need a bridge. We need to convince people who are radical terrorists who are going to kill us,
Mark,
not to kill us.
We need a bridge who's going to say, Hamas, you're a bunch of terrorists.
Right.
I think that's right.
To do. He has never
said that. That's a problem for me.
He gets very fuzzy when
a bridge is a bridge.
Well, but it could be a bridge to nowhere. I got to go. KT, Mark, thanks so much. Up next, the Culture Warriors take on